Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, there he is. Hello, sir. How are you?
And no, the screen is not frozen. I'm the only person that's frozen around here.
Oh, just you're the one that's frozen.
Can you
How
hear
are
me?
you? Yeah, we hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
We
yeah.
hear you
I'm
and we
fine,
see
thank you.
you. Love that
Yes,
video. We'll
indeed.
get into the videos and your love for making videos. What is it? What? How do you feel when you see these videos? That was from 1982.
I don't see them. I don't look at them. I
Yeah,
mean, you always see actors who say, "Oh, I've never seen the movie I just starred in," and but I know how they feel. It's like, no,
yeah.
it's done. I can't do anything about it. Just
Right.
enjoy it if you want. If it's enjoyable, but I'm not interested.
Well, the hair looked good. The makeup looked good. You got some nice little emotional acting things going on there. They look
Well,
pretty nice.
one thing when I was watching the little bit of the video there that I saw, I had a memory. It was the boots I was wearing. They were brand new boots that I put on like at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I made the mistake of taking them off like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But
Hmm.
my feet just swelled right up because
Oh,
standing in new boots and pretending you're having fun, man, that's a job.
at the end of the day, that's like taking off. Canadians can relate. It's like taking off a pair of ice skates, right? After you've been skating, your feet are just like, oh, they
Oh,
can
or
breathe.
yeah, or skiing. It's just like, oh, we're gonna go for some more. It's like I got to put these back on. Oh God,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
we're glad to have you here. There's a bunch of people that are watching in our chat room. We encourage the viewers to put the questions in the chat. And what we do is we'll pop it up here on the screen so we can all see it. And like I said, if there's any questions for the folks watching, please feel free to put them out there, and we'll do our best to get to as many as we possibly can. Um, I want to go way back, like to the very beginning. I know your parents were born in Scotland, and then from an early age, you came over from Scotland to Vancouver. So shout out to all the Canadians in the house this evening. Um, 6 years old, you wrote your first song. Um, what your parents came from a musical background. So
Yeah.
what kind of music did you get to hear from your parents as a young lad that got you to the point where at 6 years old you're saying, I gotta write me a song?
Yeah. Well, yeah, they were very musical. My dad played the sax, and he played in big bands in Glasgow, and it was very cool. And my mom sang in the choir, and we were very Scottish. Especially coming over at an early age. Everyone was missing Scotland and feeling very homesick. So that lots of sort of pop Scottish artists like Andy Stewart or people like that. I can't think of anyone else off the top of my head, but yeah, there were lots of sort of Scottish folk acts that we listened to, and it was all very romantic and it just made me miss Scotland more. So that when I was 6 years old, the thing I wrote was coming back from holiday in Scotland, not wanting to leave. So
Ah.
it was a very emotional, sorrowful sort of little thing. Yeah, that I
Sure.
pretended to play through a harmonica.
Huh. Did you ever get better at the harmonica over the years?
I never got any better. Yeah, I can do like a hoo hoo hoo. No, I can't do anything on a harmonica. It looks like it should be a simple thing to play, but
Sure.
to get good at it, no, you got to spend a lot of time.
Practice, 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 as they say.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
was there was already a question in your chat. How you got to your name of how did the band Strange Advance come about?
Well, it was an accident. It was an accident. If anyone out there has ever put a band together, you know what coming up with a name is like. It's hell.
Mm.
And yeah, so we had like a million possibilities. Nope, that doesn't work for this reason. This doesn't work for that reason. And then finally, my sister's boyfriend at the time, Jeff, comes in and said, "Well, what about Strange Advance?" He had been listening to the radio, and there's a radio host in Vancouver who used to be around anyway, Jack Cullen, and he used to play old radio shows. And he said, "Yeah, there was this old radio show called Strange Advance." And we wrote it down and we looked at it and we thought about it. It's like, yeah, yeah, everyone's in agreement. We like this name. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to have to do a little digging and find out the origins of the name.
Mm-hmm.
So I call up Jack Cullen, and I say, yeah, what do you know about this old TV, old radio show called Strange Advance? He's going, there was a show called Strange Events. It's
Uh-huh.
like, oh, he just misheard the name
Ah,
and invented this combo, and there we go. And I remember actually I saw something about Aerosmith today,
uh-huh.
and it reminded me of going in to the studio, and Steven Tyler walks in, and I'm introduced to him, and Bruce Fairbairn, the producer, says, "Oh, this is Drew from Strange Advance," and Steve Tyler's going, "Strange Advance? That's the weirdest ass name I've ever heard in my life." It's like, oh,
Yeah.
thank you very much,
There you
appreciate
go.
it. So
Thanks.
yeah, it's worked for us. So
Now, as a kid, you also saw the Beatles, right? I mean, everybody who's into music has always said there's some sort of influence
oh
from the
yeah,
Beatles.
oh
Did
yeah.
you saw them at Ed Sullivan Theater on the show,
Well,
or did you see them
on
live? Was it
TV, on TV,
on
not
TV? Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
sure, sure. I was a little tyke and saw them, and it was like I didn't understand it, but it was magic. I knew that
Mm-hmm.
there was something weird going on there, and then of course followed them throughout their career, and I hear they're getting back together. Yeah,
How?
that was
I
a that
was
was a
gonna
bad
say, are they
joke.
gonna do like
Bad joke.
I was no, please, I'm full of bad jokes. This is just it's early. Give me some time.
Yeah,
I was gonna say they could do like the holograms at this point, all of them.
yeah, yeah.
Except for Paul and Ringo. All right. So Strange Advance, you guys become a band, and then what's the process? Do you sit down and say, okay, well, we got to write some songs? What's that process like?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, for most bands, I would say it's well, we've been together for 6 months or 6 years or whatever, and we've collected all this material, and this will go on the first album and stuff. And we weren't really in that position. We didn't. We had like obviously a few songs pre-written, but after we got the deal, like Worlds Away, wasn't completely written until we were actually in the studio recording it. So but we were brave back then,
Hmm.
daring young men, and yeah, but and there were, as I say, a few songs pre-written that we demoed that basically got us the record deal, and then we started writing like crazy and came up with what's on the album.
Now, recently, you guys did an album. Sorry, a song. You covered a Spoons song called Nova Heart.
Hmm.
So for their, I think the album that they're doing is called Echoes. What's the difference in recording a song today versus when you were making albums in the 80s?
Uh, it's like black and white. There's such a huge difference. Back then, there was the excitement of having everybody in the room,
Hmm.
uh, working to make something happen in that moment, because that's where it had to be done. You had to go to the studio to record. Now I'm sitting in front of my home studio
Hmm.
where it's like, with one touch of a button, I can be recording, and I can pick from 5,000, probably 50,000 sounds to record with,
Hmm.
and find something that I like, and essentially make a record, sometimes within an hour. So back then, everything is going to tape. There's a limited amount of tracks. When I do like a vocal here or a guitar solo, or bring somebody into work, I can just all right, well, I need a part in this chorus, so I'll just put that on loop, and you just keep playing,
Hmm.
and I'll record 30 tracks of guitar,
Yeah.
whereas back then, okay, well, we've got this much space on this tape between the verse and the chorus that we can punch in and use that blank space for this little extra solo bit that you want. And it's like, oh, I better punch it right on time. I better get out on time. And there was that drama. You know, Mistakes could be made, things could be destroyed, and quite often were. Whereas now it's like I can record a session and have 200 or 300 tracks that I've got to now wade through, and that's the downside. You've got so many options open to you now, and if you avail yourself of them, it's going to take forever to wade through. And whereas back then, you would record a song in a day, it's done. Well, practically anyway.
Right, right.
So big difference, big difference.
Well, I will say that the cover of Nova Heart, it's very, very good. I was hoping there was a video for it. I saw it on the. Do you run the Strange Advance YouTube channel?
Well, nobody runs it.
What do you have?
It's
Okay.
just sort of it's there by default. But yeah.
Okay, that's where I got it. Maybe might
Oh
throw that
yeah.
in
Well,
here.
that is so cool because that's like I shouldn't even bother getting into it. Anyway, it's a great song. I really like the job we did on it. We're going to add it to our set, and it's just so much fun to play.
When are you going out on tour? Because I know there was a GoFundMe a couple of years ago to fundraise for a tour.
Oh yeah,
COVID,
yeah.
of course, right?
Well, I can't reveal too much because it's I need material for the book. But in the meantime,
By the book.
we started up. We were ready to go out, and a couple things happens. Like boom, we fall on our face. We start up again. We're ready to go. Boom, COVID. We're shut out again. And now next April, that's the first time our first date is April 26th in Vancouver, which is kind of a fun thing to open up in your hometown.
Sure.
So and that's the beginning of our live dates, and they'll be sporadic but throughout the summer, and we'll be popping into as many places as we can.
Yeah, you're coming to Toronto on May 13th, and then I think you're doing the Classic Bowl on the weekend after that too. So
that's right.
I got my tickets for the 13th, so I'm
awesome.
so looking forward to that.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I've never even been in the El Macombo, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, they just redid the whole place recently, so I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah.
In regards to the Spoon song, Nova Heart, did they approach you? Like, did they come to you guys? And
I got a message from Gord. Would we be interested in contributing a song to this record? And it's like, sure, we'd love to. And he said, well, the big songs are all gone. So I said, well, no problem. I'll just dig through the catalog and I'll find a song that is going to work for us. So anyway, at the same time I was working on our album, so I was sort of a little slow. And then I get a call or message from Gord saying, actually, would you like to take a crack at Nova Heart? It's like, yeah. It's my favorite Spoons track, So, yeah, they asked us, and we did it.
Now, has the Spoons ever covered one of your songs?
Not to the best of my knowledge. I think they owe us one now.
So, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. It's fun listening to other bands cover your stuff. Everyone's got a different take, a different approach, and it's a testament to a good song when it can be done many different ways.
Yeah, I would love to see a video made for your Nova Heart version, but I may have one of my guys make one for me.
Thank you. That would be great.
So, I was going to ask. So, who was your most influenced artist when you were growing up in regards to your music?
Well, like we were talking about the Beatles. Overall, musically, the Beatles were the biggest band, in my life. But then, they quit. Obviously, they packed things in, and I would say the next artist that really grabbed me was Bowie, and that's really what started the whole thing off. It was again something magical happening with him. It's like, who are you? And I've never heard music like this, and it was deep and intense and light and frothy, and it had everything going for it.
Yeah,
plus one of my favorite guitar players, Mick Ronson. So
nice.
Yeah. So yeah, Bowie was really affected us a lot.
Did you ever get to work with Bowie?
No, the closest I ever came to David Bowie was in a club, and we were playing in Vancouver back in the God knows when, in the 70s, I guess. And a friend of mine comes up to me and says, "You'll never guess who's upstairs," because there was like the main room downstairs and then a smaller room upstairs. I'm going, no, who? David Bowie. So run up the stairs, and look in the door. It's like, there he is, surrounded by like 8 black bodyguard guys,
Yeah.
and just having a good time listening to the music. He's getting up and dancing and stuff, and yeah. So that's we did work with Earl Slick, who went on to become his kind of main guitarist for a while,
Okay.
and we had him in the sessions that we recorded in London, and he had lots of Bowie stories, and so that was fun to hear as well.
Is there anyone that you've always wanted to work with, but maybe never got the opportunity to?
You're forcing me to relive this memory.
Hopefully, it's a good memory.
Well,
I'm sorry.
It's a memory.
I'm sorry.
We were in London recording, and working with a producer, Michael Kamen, and he was the musical director for Pink Floyd for a long time, and ended up producing an album or co-producing an album for them, and then we ended up recording in Pink Floyd studio, which was very cool, and so we're happily recording away, working on the album, and then one day Michael has passed away, and he was a great guy. I really enjoyed working with him, but one day he says, "Okay, we're going to move studios tomorrow because we're going to start to mix," and we're like, "What are you talking about? We haven't finished the album. There's tons of overdubs that haven't been done, etc." It's like, we didn't get it. Plus, he had arranged for us to go to David Gilmour's houseboat to record some Gilmour guitar tracks for us. Jeez. And and that was like, I was really looking forward to that.
Sure.
And and also Michael, I can remember him saying, he was asking David, why don't you ever show up on people's sessions or whatever? And David said, because no one ever asked me. So it's like, oh, this is awesome. We've asked, he's going to do it. And then Michael, when he said, okay, we start mixing tomorrow, it's like, oh, no, we don't. Oh. So Daryl and I ended up beating it over to EMI House, and our one of the American A&R guys happened to be there, and we explained the situation to him, and he pulled the plug on the sessions. Oh. And so it was tragic. It was really tragic. Oh, so that was the end of that, and no David Gilmour.
That sucks.
That I'm really sorry to hear that. Well, look, it's David Gilmour's loss, right?
Yeah, let's tell ourselves that.
So, Brad,
Tom,
we have one of the biggest, the biggest Strange Advance fans in the background who wants to come in and join. Now, obviously, her camera's not working, but she would love to be part of this. And I think the only reason we got Drew is thanks to Diane, Both Ends Burning, who helped reach out to Drew and see if he'd be interested in coming on here. So I would love to bring her in, see what she has to say, because she knows everything about you. She knows more about you than you probably know about yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she's a borderline stalker, but she's not a stalker. I'm just joking. She's not a stalker. She's a great person inside and out. We all know who she is. She's a mod on my channel. She's very heavily involved in Twitch. She's just a lovely person. I'm so proud to have gotten to know her over the course of the last, I'd say 5-6 months. So I'd like to bring her in if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, go for it.
Absolutely.
All right, there she is.
Oh no, her camera is working.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
I don't know if I should call her Diane or Both Ends Burning, her Twitch handle. It's good to talk to you.
It's great to be here as well. I don't want to detract any from the star of the show, which is Drew.
Please
but
go
I
for
just,
it.
Oh my God. It's kind of weird because Drew and I are actually friends.
Yes.
So and I know that he will tell you that we've conversed many a time as friends, but at the same time, I'm also a massive Strange Advance fangirl, as both you, DJ Staples, and Retro Mix Toronto will know. But every single time I cheer whenever a Strange Advance song gets played, like earlier in the afternoon, 2 Strange Advance songs got played on Retro Mix, and I just freaked out every single time. But yeah, at the same but it's such a joy and an honor to share the Strange Advance's music with the rest of the world, or at least on Twitch. And I truly, honestly believe that everybody in the world should be listening to Strange Advance, and everybody should know what a kind, incredibly intelligent, incredibly witty person Drew is. And
wow,
Stop it.
That's quite a compliment right there. How did you guys become friends?
Facebook, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I sent him a friend request back I want to say about May of last year. Mm-hmm. And then in September, I finally got enough courage to say, you know what, let me go ahead and start private messaging him. And then, you know, like the private messages got more like, you know, I don't want to say intimate because that sounds like a different type of relationship. But it became friendlier. Yeah. And he and I became friends. He's just one of the kindest people I've ever gotten to know.
Yeah, no, that's I've only gotten to know Drew a little bit over the last course of the last couple weeks, and he's been really, really nice to me. We're happy to have him on here. I should ask you this, Diane. How did you get introduced to their music? Because you live in the States, and I know they're big here in Canada. They were somewhat big, I think, in the States as well. You had some great some airplay across North America, but how did you come across Strange Advance?
It would have been about 97 or 98. I was on the internet. Actually, I started going online in 96 when I was 17 and in high school, and this would have been about a year later. I was on a website devoted to new wave music, and like sort of like lesser known new wave music for people in the US. And one of the artists they covered was Strange Advance. And at first I was reluctant to try them out because the way that they described them was a mix of progressive rock and new wave. And at the time I was very averse to progressive rock. So I was like, that doesn't sound like something I'd like. But I ended up downloading a few songs. I think the very first song I ever downloaded was Worlds Away. Through the old illegal version of Napster. Sorry. Just to sample what their music sounded like. And I was like, oh my God, this is so perfect. It's the most wonderful music I've heard in a long time. And so I ended up scouring eBay for their music, and I ended up finding World Away and 2 on vinyl, and a copy of The Distance Between on CD. And I started playing their music more often, and getting hooked, and just, you know, I became a fangirl that way.
Yeah, did you ever think you'd become friends with them?
No, never in a million years.
There you go.
I think Facebook has actually helped a lot with people to reach out to artists. Like, I'm friends with Mike Score, Flock of Seagulls. I'm friends with Gord from the Spoons. Like, years ago, you never had that opportunity.
No.
It's opened up. Yeah, it's opened up the door to be, you know, to be a fan. And obviously, you know, not to cross the line on certain aspects with your fans. With your artists that you love. I'm the same way, Diane. I was introduced to Strange Advance back when I started my live to air club days back in 96, 97.
Wow.
So the exact same time I was doing live to airs, and I had to play Canadian content during my shows. And I think just prior to that, I got to hear on the radio station I was working with, Worlds Away, We Run, and I was just blown away. And to this day, We Run still makes me get the goosebumps every time I play it. And I've explained to Drew, I won't go into details of what it does for me and what the video and what the song, meant to me during some not dark times in my life, but some times where, you know, somebody wasn't in my life that is, thank God, now in my life, who will come and say hi a little bit later on, because you really have to say hi to you, Drew. But yeah, it was once I was introduced, I was hooked, and I would play their stuff nonstop. Every weekend, I had back-to-back nights, and I would play their stuff back-to-back. And then since now I'm on Twitch, I love Canadian artists. I love promoting Canadian artists. And like I said, I'll play Strange Advance until the day I die.
Wow. Long may you live.
So
that's a testament to how incredible Strange Advance's music is.
Well, we have another gentleman in the crowd saying that "Worlds Away" was his wedding song. Unfortunately, they're no longer together. But hey, there you go. It was a wedding song.
Nice.
Somebody else was asking. April loves music, an avid listener and watcher. Talking about the connection she had with Paul Humphrey from Blue Peter. Did you ever have contact with him at all, or get to perform with him?
No, just as a fan. No, never made any. We moved in different circles.
Mm-hmm.
No, and of course we were based in Vancouver, so you know there was like the whole Queen Street scene in Toronto that everyone knew everyone, but you know we were outsiders, I guess.
Sure. Did you guys ever label your music?
I hated when people would ask, you know, how do you describe your music? It's like, well, I don't. It's music, you know, it's our music, but I'm not interested in describing it. So I always left it up to other people, but. You know, I guess I played around with the idea of progressive pop, only that, you know, first of all, I love pop music. I love, you know, a catchy song and something that, and something I like a little deeper, you know, something behind the, you know, the first layer of what's going on. And of course, you know, I love orchestral type music and I just love strings and things. So, And it all sort of actually dates from my love of the mellotron, which was an instrument that was basically strings, taped strings that used by all the prog rock bands, you know, Yes, Genesis, King Crimson, etc. So that's where my love of music sort of flourished and what we do today.
Do you remember the first time you heard one of your songs on the radio?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, we were actually working on like a remix or something, and I don't even. I think it was officially released. I think I knew that they were going to play something that day, and so I drove away from the studio and listened to the radio, and it's just one of those, you know, you're screaming because like we're on the radio. Now the other thing is, when you get a song played on the radio, when you've just literally been, you know, a few days ago listening to it in the studio, it's a totally different experience because radio does all its sort of weird things to the song, to the music, in terms of compression and EQ and whatever. So what you hear through the radio is like, oh, I got to get used to the sound of this. You know, I'm just warning anybody out there, if you get like you're used to hearing it a certain way, it's not going to necessarily sound the same on the radio. Hopefully it'll sound better.
Nice.
Fantastic. Do you one of the question I like to ask a lot of musicians that I'm fortunate to get a chance to speak with, back in the day in the 70s, 80s, you know, there were bands that were paired up together that maybe didn't necessarily jive together. Case in point, I got a chance to speak to Alan Dennison, who was in Hamilton, Joe Frank, and Reynolds before after Reynolds left. Anyway, that's the 70s, right? So they were talking about opening for Black Sabbath, really not their forte. Did you ever encounter anything like that when you guys were doing your thing touring?
Well, you know, we had a pretty unique situation. We were ready to start touring the first album, and they were trying to set us up with a Kajagoogoo tour in the UK, and I don't know who we were going to end up playing with, but we didn't end up playing with anyone because we were rehearsing for the tour, And I drove Daryl home from rehearsal, and there was an ambulance there, and his father had just passed away.
Oh, jeez.
So, and he's an only child, so he had to look after his mom, and it's like, all right, well, we're not going anywhere. So we just started working on the next album, and after that, so now after the second album, we were going to tour, but now we were popular enough that we could headline. Mm-hmm. So we never had the experience of going out with all those bands, which would have been cool. It would have been a lot of fun, but just never happened. And the only person we ever did any touring with was Tina Turner, and that was an interesting experience. And but that's the only time we ever backed anyone up.
Was there things that you liked about the music industry, or things that you didn't care much about? Did you like touring?
I thought I was going to hate touring. Mm-hmm. I was really, not prepared to like it at all. So it was very surprising when we went out the first time, and it's like, oh, this is actually kind of fun. I'm enjoying this. And I didn't have any problem with it at all, which was surprising. So, no, I enjoyed touring. I didn't have any problem with it. I mean, sometimes there's long hours, sitting on a bus, with, not doing anything, not feeling like doing anything. It's like, gets boring. Also, you're eating in hotels all the time,
Yeah.
And that gets old fast.
Gotcha.
So, Drew, real quickly, my wife wants to say hi. She's the reason We Run. It meant so much to me because for 10 years, when she wasn't in my life, we dated before, then we broke up. I told you I'd walk along the beach. I'd be pretending I'm in a music video, listening to We Run, and it all reminded me of her. So this is Pearl. That's Drew.
Hi, Drew.
Diane. Hi, Pearl.
Hi, Pearl.
Hi, how are you?
I was going to say that she would probably run away from Tom, but I guess
yeah. And she kissed me softly on the cheek.
Oh, well, that's lovely.
Enough embarrassing for myself. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, Pearl, do you have any last-minute questions or anything?
No, I'm good.
She loves your song.
I love your songs, and thanks for all the great song and great hit.
Oh, my pleasure. You're welcome.
We love you, Pearl.
Thank you. Love you too.
Lloyd says hi to you.
Hi.
All right.
Eat it, Pearl. Get out of here. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I love Pearl too. I'm just kidding. So, as a big fan of music and Canadian music, I used to take Canadian music for granted when I was growing up in the Scarborough, Toronto area. And now that I live in Calgary for a long time, when you don't get it, you really, really miss it. And thanks to folks like Thomas here, kind of got me back on track with a lot of it and started to remember so many great Canadian artists. One of my favorite Canadian artists, besides yourself, from back in the day, was Nick Gilder.
Oh.
Hot Child in the City, right? Everybody knew that one.
Yeah.
There was a connection between you and Nick. Am I correct?
Big connection. Yeah. Daryl and I had a cover band, and we played lots of Bowie and T-Rex and Mott the Hoople, etc. And we had a great rehearsal space. And this band that we knew of called Sweeney Todd, they were looking for a rehearsal space. So we said, well, look, we're only here 3 days of the week. You can have the rest of the week. And so we shared this rehearsal space. So I got to know the guys. And so at one point, Slan basically imploded. Well, I exploded.
Right.
Anyway, Daryl and I had a little problem. So I left Slan, and I loved lights. When Slan, played in the clubs, I would set up the lights. I would, have everything programmed and stuff. I really enjoyed that aspect. So when I left Slan, I ended up buying a lighting rig because Sweeney Todd were looking for someone to do lights for them. So I joined this band, and of course Nick was the singer, and Jim McCullough was the guitar player, and they wrote all the songs, and they wrote Hot Child in the City and that. But it was very cool because they were so popular in Vancouver they played a lot of community centers and high schools and things like that. The kids just loved them. They were very charismatic and had a great sound. And so anyway, I went out and I did lights for them, and I enjoyed it. It was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. And at that time, they released Roxy Roller, which went to #1 in Canada. And and so anyway, the bottom line with them was that Nick and Jim got an offer of a record deal in the States. They didn't want the whole band. And so Nick and Jim ended up moving to LA and then, doing the Hot Shot in the City and all that kind of stuff. But in the meantime, I actually went to Scotland on holiday, and there was another little weird thing that happened. That was at the time when I was like just starting to write songs. I had I can remember one day thinking, okay, I'm going to write a song today. What's it going to be called? And I picked up this Scottish newspaper, and there was a band they were talking about that had written a song called Forever and Ever. There was a band called Slick, Slik, and so there I was on holiday in Scotland, and I see. Well, first of all, I bought their record to see what their Forever and Ever sounded like compared to mine.
Right.
Didn't sound anything like it. And then I'm in a music store, and they've got a board where you post messages and things. And in this band, Slick, we're looking for a lighting director. And I just, left the Sweeney Todd organization, and so I met with the lead singer and his manager. It was Midge Ure, who was the singer of the band, and I ended up getting the job. And so now I'm going to be touring Europe doing lights for this band Slick that Midge sang in. And that was a great thing, except when I found out how much they were planning to pay me, which was like, how those people lived, I don't know. Because it was ridiculous, like $50 a week or something, or I can't survive on that. I'm sorry. So I had to turn the job down, but that's so I had that connection with Nick, doing the whole Sweeney Todd thing, and it led to my connection with Midge, who I worked for. I can legitimately say I worked for him for a day. And don't you think they should have paid me for that time?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to bring that up with him.
Want me to call him for you and talk to him for you?
Would you mind?
No, I don't mind at all.
Yeah,
I got him on speed dial. I'll call him up. Somebody in our chat had made mention before becoming Strange Advance was the band name Metropolis.
Yeah, that was our original name. We loved the movie, and we had like lots of sci-fi, influences and stuff. So yeah, we were going to be called Metropolis, and we were moving ahead, artwork and whatever. But then we found out, no, there's a band in Germany called Metropolis, and they were willing to sell us the name, but it was going to cost us a fortune. So it's like, no, we've got to come up with a new name, and that's where Strange Advance happened.
So
and then again, that came by just as happenstance. It was a misheard, right? It wasn't Strange Advance. It was Strange. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to know how some of the songs that we all love came to be. So I'd love to learn a little bit more about Worlds Away, how that came to be, and the response that you got from that one.
Well, it actually, at the time of the first album, we were working with limited amounts of gear, and so out of the budget, they had decided to allot X amount of dollars for us to, do a little shopping spree. So we ended up buying a Jupiter 8, a Roland Jupiter 8, and I had a recording studio at the time, so I can remember sitting there in the studio just trying out sounds on this new keyboard, and just playing a couple of chords, and there's a lot of droning in Worlds Away, and maybe not even evident. I know the tracks exist. That's how the song was born. It might not have ended up on the final mix. I don't even know. But anyway, just the sound of this synthesizer and just playing these two chords put me in a certain mood. And actually, it was a song written for my girlfriend at the time, who later became my wife. And so it was sort of like more of a romantic kind of a song.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that, you know, the lyrics weren't right for the melody and stuff. And so when we started working on Worlds Away in the studio, I had no lyrics. And I remember one day we broke for Christmas. We had a little Christmas break in the recording sessions, and my job was to go home and write the lyrics to Worlds Away. So and again, you know, I love the sci-fi aspect of life, and it ended up being, you know, this what it is. Yeah.
And thank God for that. Such a beautiful song.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Brad. No, go ahead, Brad.
Do you have a favorite song, Drew, that you did with Strange Advance, or do you have one album that you really like over another, or?
It's a really tough call. I mean, you know, like the cliche is, well, it's like, you know, which of your children do you love more, you know? And it's also, you know, it changes from, you know, time period to time period. You know, it's like, you know, when I hear a song going, oh, that's a lot better than I thought it was, you know, or that I remembered, you know, it's like you're in a different mood or something. So I've always had a liking for the song Home of the Brave. Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite tracks, and it's a very powerful track live, so I'm really looking forward to playing it.
Was there ever a video for that one or no?
No. Well, you know, let's face it. In Canada, there was limited budgets for videos, you know, and you had to spend a fair amount back then. You know, they've you know, improved cameras that are available to anyone. I mean, you know, people shoot on their iPhones, but back then it's like, you know, you've got to be prepared to spend, you know, 20, 30 grand or something per video, and the record companies just weren't really into dropping that much dough, you know.
So our friend Impressions DJ Dan, who's usually here on the round table with us, clearly came on late.
Delinquent.
A little bit late. So yes, Dan. I'm not going to answer for you, Drew, but yes, he wrote a song when he was 6.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, I should clarify. What happened was my sister and we shared a bedroom, and we had bunk beds. And I can remember lying on the top bunk with my harmonica and feeling really sad and, you know, longing for Scotland and stuff. So I called my mom into my bedroom to play her this song that I'd been working on. And I was like, you know, I don't know if I believed I was playing the harmonica or,
right.
But I was just humming through the harmonica. So I was just like, whatever the tune was.
Yeah.
And, you know, but it was like the first time I can actually remember, you know, trying to express myself through music. Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, and it wasn't much of a song. It probably like about a good solid 15 seconds of melody there, but let's call it a song.
Hey, you got to start somewhere, right? 15 seconds.
Exactly.
15 seconds.
And then I understand the biggest song for you was We Run. I understand that video. That video was done in New Orleans. Is that where the video?
No, we shot She Controls Me and Love Games in New Orleans.
Okay,
By the way, just a little tip for you: if you ever go there, they hate when you say New Orleans. I did not know that. I did not know that when I went there. I have offended a few people. It's
actually New Orleans.
New Orleans. And you got to slur it too.
Yeah.
Do it, Diane. Let's hear it.
No pressure.
Nolans. Yeah. So, but We Run was shot in Toronto, and it's I don't know. It's a funny thing, you know. You have something in your mind, and you know, okay, this is the way I want it to look, and you know, unless you're like Taylor Swift, who's, you know, got can complete control over her career and every aspect of what's going on, and can hire and fire directors and, you know, do whatever and spend $1 million on a video. The rest of us just have to kind of, you know, make do with what we can. It was a tie-dye extravaganza.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Can we talk about your love for making music videos?
Oh,
they're fun, right?
You know, I would love to make music videos if I was like, you know, the guy making them. That would be a lot of fun, getting to create the look and shoot it and stuff, and that would be a fun gig. But being a musician and doing, the very first video we shot was in New Orleans for She Controls Me. And I brought a keyboard with me, where there was really no need to do that. You know, I could have picked one up there, but, you know, who knew? And I can remember the realization that, oh God, I'm going to have to, for the first time in my life, I was a drummer. So if I had to sing a song, you know, you're drumming away, da 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 da, and you can sing, it's not a problem. But being a keyboard player, which I'm not really, you know, I'm just passable, and I realized I'm going to have to play and sing at the same time. I've never actually, in the studio, you do it one at a time, you know.
Sure.
So I thought, oh great, you know, how am I going to pull this off? And so there I am in the hotel room the night before we start shooting. And I've got my keyboard there, and I'm like, now, was it this inversion or that inversion? You know, somebody out there is going to see this and realize that I'm playing the wrong inversion of this chord. I'm going to be laughed out of the Musicians League. You know, not realizing like nobody can tell what you're doing, and nobody even cares what you're doing. You know, you're there playing, and so I was all stressed about it, and stressed, and in those stupid new boots that were killing my feet.
The boots.
My God, it was terrible.
Those boots.
Yeah. So no, it's not the most fun thing. And you know something, I as a hobby, I write screenplays. I like the idea of film and stuff.
Sure.
But just my experience with music videos alone, and realizing, oh, if you're shooting a movie, you know, prepare for like 85% boredom. You know, there's nothing going on. Oh yeah, the lighting guys are setting up a whole new, it's like, you know, you might as well park yourself for like the next hour and a half. And, you know, it's a very, very boring business to be in. And, but again, unless you're the director. So maybe one day I'll get to, you know, direct something and try it from the other side of the camera.
It's very interesting you bring that up too, because obviously from that same era, Danny Elfman, who today is scoring pretty much everything, every movie that's out there. So
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really is a talented guy and works with talented people, and has put together an extraordinary team, and very, very clever guy. My closest experience was, you know, again, working with Michael Kamen. Drew, the director.
There you go.
Michael Kamen, you know, scored lots of films. As a matter of fact, that's why we chose him, because he scored a movie called The Dead Zone that we really liked. And so watching him work, though, in the studio, like on We Run specifically, you know, he was coming up like all those strings. Well, 90% of those strings are all Michael Kamen's work. And, well, strings, horns, whatever. And but watching him spew this stuff out, as a matter of fact, what an amazing day. Michael Kamen, you know, awesome composer, film scores and stuff, calls up his good buddy Hans Zimmer to ask if he could borrow his Fairlight. So Hans Zimmer comes over with his Fairlight, and I'm standing there between Michael Kamen and Hans Zimmer, while Michael Kamen's like, okay, I need an English horn, I need French horn, I need this. It's like, and Hans would dial it up, and Michael would, it's all coming from his head, you know, all these parts and stuff. It's like, and I just realized that, you know, this is the way they all work. in the film business. You know, when you're doing music for a film, they give you very, very little time. You know, okay, we need a score. When do you need it? Well, you got 10 days. It's like, oh my God. So you really have to just be able to spew this stuff out. And watching Michael Kamen work, I thought, that will never be me. I just don't have that in me. You know, I'm a very slow person. When you consider it took 30 years for our new record to finally come out, you think, yeah, I don't think that would work in the film world.
I was going to ask you about that because you did your first 3 albums and then there was a long stretch in between from the last one, obviously. What did you do with yourself in between? I mean, you don't have to give specifics, but like, how do you keep busy? What are your hobbies? What do you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't really have any hobbies. You know, I love watching sci-fi, as I've said, but no, I don't. You know, I last summer I bought a drone. I guess that's a hobby. That's quite fun. You know, trying to get some good drone footage for use in videos and that.
I suppose a recent hobby of yours that you've started to get into is getting into TikTok.
Oh man, I'm addicted to TikTok. Oh,
are you really?
Oh, it's unbelievable the amount of material there. Yeah. I mean, it's in such a wide range of things, and the most interesting people show up on my TikTok. So yeah, that is a fun thing. I will give that the hobby title. Yeah, but I was going to say, what was I going to say? What were we talking about?
Oh, like your hobbies, things that you did between albums.
What did I do between the last? Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, I write all the time, and I've always got a studio. You know, I've got enough material for another 4 albums.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, I literally back in the day, and I still use them from time to time. I've got like 300 cassettes full of ideas.
What's
the problem is?
What's a cassette?
Yeah, I know.
What's a tape cassette?
Well, it looks something like this.
Never heard of it.
And now you see on the edge there's this red stuff.
Is that to record over?
Sorry?
Is that so you can record over it?
No. That's when you put a little bit of tape on the edge there where the tab is broken off. The red indicates that these are Jupiter or Lynn drum machine programs.
Okay.
So that's the significance of the red there. But so writing lots of material. I've worked with like a few other artists, some really cool people, and unfortunately, not much happened with their material. Yes, Walkmans. As a matter of fact, I actually used to have, as I say, I used to have a recording studio, and we did. I'm sorry, I'm reading these little captions. I know, I've still got them too, and they still play. Cassettes still play. Whereas if you go, DATs don't play anymore. Of course, vinyl gets all scratched up and is practically unplayable. But cassettes are one technology that's just keeps going.
Sure.
So anyway, I had this recording studio, and the idea of the studio was we would do jingles during the day, and that would make us enough money to pay for the studio so that we could do our original songs at night. And so what we did was we recorded some jingles, and we had like a demo tape, and you would have to go to an advertising agency and get an appointment and play your stuff and hopefully land a gig. And but the problem was that again, you would have to take a cassette with you. That was the only medium you could use.
Mm-hmm.
And their playback systems were always radically different. You didn't know if you're going to be playing through like a tiny little boom box or a big stereo or whatever. So we thought, let's buy Walkmans. And so we would go in with 1 or 2 Walkmans that you get a couple of headphones out of each if you had more than 2 or 3 people. Mm-hmm. And people would listen to your music through these headphones, and at least it was constant, and you knew what it was going to sound like, and it would sound good. But actually, I remember the first time going out with Walkmans and blowing people away, with how good they sounded compared to their own systems.
Sure.
And, and now, of course, we've moved light years beyond that technology, and, it's a different world.
Sure.
But yeah, so I getting back to your question, there was a time period where I actually had to like go out and get a job, and I never wanted to do music for money that way. I didn't want to be like a producer for hire, work with anybody or whatever, and I'm not like a session guy anyway.
Right.
Yes, I could do a jingle for the show.
I didn't even want to put that on the screen. I was like, I'm not going to come on, man. Unbelievable, these people.
Yeah, well, I could just change the lyrics to one of my old jingles, maybe,
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You know what I might do? I might see if I get Drew to say, hey, you're listening to Retro Mix, or this is Strange Advance with Retro Mix, and then drop a song. Why not?
There you
Don't
go.
do it for free, Drew. Whatever you do, don't do it.
I'll pay for it.
Oh,
do a station ID for Retro Mix Toronto.
Now, Diane, that sounded. Did you catch that? Did you record that? You could do the announcement there, Diane.
No, I'm not the star you are.
Now, oh wow, Buckaroo Banzai. Yes, that was an amazing movie. That was very cool. I didn't realize that there was people chatting on the
Oh yeah. Everyone's that's where we find the comments, and if people have questions, again, put them in the chat, and we'll pop them on the screen here.
Yeah, like this one. Charge me double.
Yeah.
It would be worth every cent to have Drew introduce that.
Yeah, sure.
So Drew,
Retro Mix.
Yeah. Drew doesn't understand that. I have a 6 or 7-year-old kid who did IDs for my show. A friend of mine. Wow. So he calls it, instead of Retro Mix, he calls it Weto Mix or something like that. It's funny. I like it. So I'm really curious to know how. I know I met you through Diane you guys did back in March, St. Patrick's. You did a little Zoom call. Right. On Facebook, and that's how I got to meet Diane and see you. And I know a question was asked there, but for people here, how did We Run come to be?
Well, there's two aspects to it. The general idea for the song itself, lyrically in that, I had this really weird dream. And in the dream, I was on the side of a hill looking down into like a little bay, and there was a big ship in the bay, and I could see that all the sailors were dead, lying on the deck of this ship, and so that was like the image that sparked the whole thing, and then I realized later, it's like I didn't realize, I guess I invented it. But anyway, even though I hate normally to talk about lyrics, specifically what inspired me, because, a lot of times, people hear songs and they hear what they want to hear and they take their interpretation. This is why it's meaningful to me, and I don't like to disabuse them of their notions,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so. I meet a friend who doesn't kill but wounds for life. It's falling from the sky. It's radiation is what's done it, and so it's sort of like a futuristic end of the world kind of scenario, and of course there's a girl involved. So.
Always a girl involved.
So it's like your version of dancing with tears in my eyes.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So, can you sing a little for us, please?
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. Well, not to mention, I'm actually on the border of coughing.
That's all right. You can go ahead.
I don't want to spoil anyone's.
Yeah, right.
I've already fooled them into thinking I can sing. I don't want to spoil it now.
No, you're fine. You're fine. See, somebody else just said, please sing, but no pressure again. So upcoming tour or tours in the past, one of our friends in the chat had asked the question I wanted to make sure we got to. When you're putting a set list together, any struggles with that, or is it come to you easily?
Oh no, it's always a struggle. And often you don't know, even in rehearsal, dress rehearsal, it doesn't matter. When you get out in front of people is when you find out, oh, did that work? It's like, oh no, that song was like way out of place there. It spoiled the mood or the flow or whatever. And also you've got to make decisions. You can't play every song in your repertoire, so you want to play the familiar songs for people, and you also want a sprinkling of random tracks. And are you going to pick the ones that people actually want to hear, or and there'll always be somebody disappointed. I can't believe you didn't play that song.
Right.
So, but I guess I like to think that we'll be able to keep this up and switch songs. And I really like the idea of having variations in the set so that every show is not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in regards to your upcoming show here in Toronto on May 13th, 14th, and 15th, are you opening for Images in Vogue, or are they opening for you? Do you know that yet?
They're opening for us.
Nice.
Dale's great. Love Dale.
No, the Images. I mean, Ed and Derek were in the band, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, Ed and Derek actually played. They played with us first, and unfortunately, when Daryl's dad passed away, that was it. And they shipped us off to England to work on the new record, and they wouldn't pay. The record company wouldn't pay to send Ed and Derek with us. So they said no, it'd be cheaper for us to hire guys over there. So it was they would still be playing with us today if that probably hadn't happened. So yeah, we're tight with Images. I love Images. It'll be a good show.
So do you know Tim Walsh from Images?
No, sorry, I'm not that tight.
Okay. Yeah, he was playing last night. Tim Walsh is part of the band now too.
I know of him anyway.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He used to be my lighting guy back in my day in my club days.
Right.
I know last night. I think it was last night. Him and Carol Pope were at the Classic Bowl or doing her songs. Just him and her.
Wow.
Saw the
Did
video.
You see it?
No, there was a snowstorm here yesterday, and I had a show the night before, and I was dead tired, so I went to bed early last night. But I would have loved to see that.
Yeah.
But I do look forward to that day to see you, and obviously Image and Vogue that day, but more you guys. I've seen them before, nothing against them. I love them, but I want to see you guys.
Well, when we first played Toronto, this is actually historic. When we first played Toronto, we played 2 warm-up dates at a university or a couple of universities. And then we played our first big show, which was Ontario Place. And so that was like the first big crowd we'd played for, and Images opened for us there.
Oh, cool.
And so it's kind of cool that we're coming back to Toronto, and there we both are again,
And now in regards to Daryl, I know he's not taking part in this. Who's going to be singing his parts? Will it just be you?
Well, I'm taking on a couple more of his songs, I guess. Am I? At least one, but we've got this young guy, Sean, in Vancouver here, and he's a great singer and a great guitar player and energy plus, and just a great guy. So he'll be handling most of those vocals. But we've got a very strong band vocally, because Ian sings, our guitarist sings, and Ross, the drummer, is a great singer. So, we got that covered.
Any plans of coming to the States?
Well, I would love to. We would have to figure out some really clever way to do it, because we didn't have. Although we were actually signed to Capitol LA, and they pushed us. They pushed the first album. Second album, not so much. But the first album, got played, lots of places, and we had little pockets of success. One being San Francisco, sort of took to us, and Florida for some reason was another big area for us, and we had like just little things happen in the States where it's like, oh, maybe it's stuck in some people's minds and stuff. And I'm shocked that I'm getting orders from all over the States for the CD, the new CD. So it's like, I don't know how they're hearing about it, and I don't know how they found us in the first place, but it's very cool.
Sure.
Very happy. So yeah, I'd love to get down there, but it's a case of meeting up with the right promoter, who there's all the border cities. There's I guess there's a string of casinos that sort of straddle the border there, and maybe that kind of a tour, because lots of people in the States heard Canadian music because there were some strong stations out of Toronto and wherever.
Funny thing I always found about Canadians down here, I'm in a bubble, right? I'm in Jersey, but I'm obviously from Toronto. So I walk around this head, oh, I'm the only Canadian around. Mind you, I went to go see Tragically Hip, and then all of a sudden in New York City one time, all the Canadians just happened to convert to see the Hip. So I was like, oh, it was kind of nice to know that there was more of more of me out there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We blend in nicely down here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think I hate to say it, but sort of innocuous. We're kind of now there I go with my coughing. There's Canadians are nice people.
We are.
I agree. And our music, I think we're a little bit more eclectic up in Canada than is sort of allowed for in the States. Because they're like their formats are sort of more tightly controlled and stuff. But then when you look at Europe and the UK and stuff, it's amazing the type of things that get on the radio there that it would never happen in North America. They're open to so much, so many more types and genres of music and stuff.
Yeah, and that actually hits on something I told Drew once in a private conversation that we had. I told him that I felt like if they had been able to tour mainland Europe, that Strange Advance would be huge in mainland Europe.
We need to make it happen.
Yeah.
Well, I leave it in your capable hands. And thank you in advance.
Oh no, I know you're discussing on the Facebook group about social media, and I know obviously a lot of kids and people are using certain social media like TikTok, Instagram, and stuff, and it's coming up with posts. It's coming up with material to come up all the time to engage people. That's the problem. So obviously the fans can do a lot of that for you, which some do. Every day I get a notification from somebody saying, hey, I received this from Drew. I received this, or here's a video, or here's some information. That stuff goes far for you, but we need to do more to get your word out that you guys are back. You're going to be going on tour, get the interest up there. Like I said, when I heard you guys, when I first came across your crowdfunding thing, your GoFund, I was like, take my money, please. I wanted to anything I had, I just wanted to give it to you guys and make sure you came to Toronto. And obviously that's going to happen. So, yeah.
And thank you for that, by the way.
Oh, no. Thank you.
I've always been a firm believer, though. There's just something about Canadian music, or what is it? CanCon, right? Canadian content.
Yeah.
That you don't see, or you get it. I don't know. I can't really describe the feelings, but there's something about it that just makes it so unique.
Oh yeah. Right? There's. I think we're more or less allowed a little bit. There's more license here to, stretch your musical wings and, do different things. We've churned out some great bands. Broken Social Scene. Stars. Bands that really, I really enjoyed. I really like bands that have strong melodic bent and. And a unique style, and certainly Canada's got its share of people that can do that. So, but the problem is, you've got to, ideally, to make a living, you've got to branch out of Canada.
Sure.
Obviously, the United States is Mecca, and it's like, if you can break the states, you've got it made. But lots of bands do well in Europe and stuff, and it's too bad we never got the chance to do it, but that's life.
What is there any music out there now today that you're interested in?
Well, this is the embarrassing thing, I have to admit. I don't listen to music.
Really? Okay.
No, I mean,
how do you do, like on like Spotify, like choosing what you want when you want, kind of a thing?
No. I occasionally, like, people send me ideas, or not ideas. They send me tips. Oh, you got to check this guy out or that band out or whatever. And sure, I'll listen to that, and sometimes I'll be impressed. For instance, I saw a concert listing for Future Islands. Do you know Future Islands?
I do not.
They're an interesting pop band with the most dynamic lead singer I've ever seen. It's a very cool band. And but no, I just don't have the time. I'll see, like, maybe on the talk shows or something, I'll see who the musical acts are, Saturday Night Live. But the problem is that there's literally so much music going on in my head at all times.
Yeah.
It's like, like last night, I must have written, the bases for like 3 or 4 songs, because I'm just walking around going, oh, that's cool. I don't know where that came from, but, so then I've got to go to the keyboard and work. So, and it's one of those things, like if your job or what you're doing, 90% of the time is music, then when you're away from that, it's like, oh, I don't want to listen to more music. Sure. I want some silence to go.
Yeah, think about it that way.
Yeah. So no, I'm not the best guy for knowing exactly what's going on musically.
So you said that you've just started working on a few songs. Does that mean that we can expect a 5th album sometime soonish? Asking for an entire fan group.
Yeah.
Well, there's definitely enough material, and the problem is that when I write, some of the stuff is strange advancey, but a lot of it is like, where's that coming from? What is that supposed to be? So, and it's trying to struggle with well, what does strange advance mean? What does that mean anyway? And how far do we stray from what we've done before? So. The answers to those questions and more coming up, I guess. But yeah, there will be a number 5 at some point.
Yay! Sorry.
She's happy. There you go. Any chances of a live performance album coming out from maybe the upcoming tour?
Well, it wouldn't be for a while, but yeah, we have thought about it. Definitely, like the Alma Combo are totally set up, to record. And they've got a really nice setup, lots of great gear, but yeah, have to see how that goes.
That's great. It's promising. It wasn't a no.
No,
we'll take it. That was a no. We'll take it.
Yeah.
Tom, do you have anything you want to ask? Anybody in the chat have anything that we want to ask Drew?
Yeah, I would love to know more about the song Love Games, and Love Becomes Electric, which Drew knows that I've made a video for. The great DJ Grizz did the Worlds Away video of you guys. I think it was 1985 in Montreal.
Oh yeah,
the one I sent you.
Yeah, again, yeah. I try to avoid anything that's got me in it, but Love Games. Yeah, Love Games was an interesting track. It was actually like I think that might have been our first single in the UK, and oh man, and there's some good stories attached to that too, but I can't really remember. Do you know who Rusty Egan is?
No, sounds familiar, but
yeah,
he was in Visage and I think the Rich Kids along with Major. And also the DJ for the Blitz Club back in London.
So he either did the remix of Love Games. Hang on a second here. I was going to see if I could look it up. But anyway, it was well received in the clubs. Our remix, and it sort of made a little dent in the UK, which was nice.
Mhm.
But yeah, as a matter of fact, no, there's a little anecdote that I can't tell you. Sorry.
I guess some things have to remain private, right?
Plus, I got to save something for the book. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sure.
so you mentioned that a couple times. When do you plan on having that come out?
I don't.
All right. So save it for the book, and if it comes out, it comes out, and we'll get to hear it then.
That's right. That's right.
And then what about
Love Becomes Electric. You know
Yeah.
something?
Oh.
Daryl outdid himself on that one. He's a bit of a technophobe, and it's tragic because he's all about techno, and he loves that aspect, that kind of music, and everything programmed, heavy synths, all that stuff, and he just doesn't have the sort of technical background to make it work. He's frustrated by technology. So anyway, he rented a couple of bits of gear and played me Love Becomes Electric, and it was like, wow, there it is. And he's just like, managed to put together the right number of presets and came up with this track. And yeah, it was a very, very interesting song to work on.
Great song. And you guys keep in touch?
Oh yeah. 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 We talk all the time.
Is he ever considering coming back? And
yes, there's consideration all over the place.
Sweet.
What we don't have is certainty. So, we just have to cross our fingers and hope it all works out in the end, but have to wait and see.
But even if he doesn't, participate, you still got Sean Dillon, who's an incredible talent in and of himself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not too worried about the vocals. I think it sounds great. That's
the whole band is professional, and they're amazing at what they do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And they're all really, really nice guys. A lot of fun to play with.
It'd be nice to get them on here one time.
Yes, we should do a group chat. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and it's fascinating. They've all got their backgrounds, played with so many different people and lots of stories to tell. So it's fun for, road trips. You get to hear all these anecdotes from different backgrounds and that.
Yeah, I remember some of the stories in the Facebook thing back in March of this year.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Especially like with regards to Rob Bailey, he's worked with so many different artists.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, not just artists, companies. He's, big into, as I say, technology and that, and programming. And he's worked on a lot of the electronic art stuff, the music end of things, and also just straight programming, and gets recruited by Apple, and everybody loves this guy. Very, very talented.
And how are the radio stations reacting to your recent album?
Well, we haven't actually done like the official sort of big push on the album, and to be honest with you, I'm not really too concerned about it. I'm very happy that people seem to be liking the music, and that's very satisfying. But the reality is that first of all, it's not a CD world anymore,
right?
And as far as radio is concerned, we still get airplay, but it's a lot of retro stations and people that play a lot of 80s things, and a band of 50, 60-year-olds releasing a new single does not get most radio stations excited. So it's one of those things. If I don't know. I suppose if somebody submitted a track and and excluded our pictures, maybe we would have a shot at it. I don't know. But we could hire some of the guys from BTS. It's like, oh, here's their new single.
Here's a legit question from Dan, who should have been here earlier. If somebody were to cover your songs, who would you like to see cover, or would you even want your song covered?
Well, again, I'm oh, sorry. I'm just hearing a weird delay in my voice. I'm always thrilled that anybody wants to cover any of our songs, and there's been some really good versions, especially of We Run. I've heard a couple of great versions of We Run, and so it's a thrill if it does get covered. I mean, let's say in a perfect world, if Pink Floyd was to ever cover a Strange Advance song, I'd be pretty tickled.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And how do you feel about platforms like where DJs are playing your songs? I'm thrilled that we're still getting played, that people are still interested and into the music. It's awesome. It's the gift that keeps on giving. No, it's fantastic. I'm very, very pleased and grateful that it's still played.
I actually had a few followers tell me that they're happy that I introduced them to your band, because they didn't know about you. And when I play a lot of your stuff, they were just like, thank you so much for introducing me to this band. Their stuff's great.
That's awesome. Really.
Were you familiar, Drew, with Twitch prior to today? I mean, had you heard rumblings about it at all?
You know something? Diane has tried to educate me in the ways of Twitch.
Okay.
But it hasn't really taken. Again, I don't really have any time for it. And you're listening to all this great music, but I'm working on other music.
Sure.
And so, yeah, it's just not something that I gravitate towards.
You even have your own emojis now that a few DJs have made. The
very nice. Diane told me about one of them. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, Chris here. Chris is one of my mods on my channel, and he's obviously a fan of yours. I have introduced him to many Canadian artists, but I think out of all of them, I play mostly your stuff.
Well, all right. I'm not going to argue.
Mostly because I'm one of his mods as well, and he likes to spoil his mods. And so, like, whenever I'm in the chat, he'll play like one or two Strange Advance songs for me, and I have to stop for 3 or 4 minutes and go all fangirl.
Well, don't overwhelm them. Don't put them off. Whatever you do.
Okay.
Never.
Now, of all the shows that you've played, Drew, over the years, anything, and maybe you're going to save it for the book, but has anything stand out with you? Like, oh, this happened at this particular show. That was kind of crazy.
Something. This is an interesting thing. When I was a kid, I was into music. I would fall asleep with the radio under my pillow and all that kind of thing.
Yep.
And I had like my fantasies of playing in a band. And like back then I was drumming, and I would picture myself drumming for, my favorite band of the moment. And that's how I would fall asleep, picturing how awesome it would be and, so much fun. And then many years later, there we are out there, they're playing and stuff. But the problem was at the time, I was so concerned about all the logistics, all the details of what was going on. How are things looking? How are things sounding? Is this working? Is that working? And it was only until after we actually played and toured and stuff that I realized I've actually just realized my childhood dream, but I wasn't really aware of it at the time. So I was kind of like just not in the moment, as they say. and which is why I'm really looking forward to going out now.
Sure.
So I can actually just stop and look around and soak it up and enjoy the experience, you know. So yeah, I there were moments here and there, but for the most part, I was blissfully unaware of really what was going on, and it's one of the big motivations for getting out there this time.
Would part of that not knowing then be? I'm probably going to get kicked in the face for this question. Chemically induced reasons that you didn't remember a lot of that stuff back in the day?
You know, I went through my period of experimentation.
Yeah.
Because, you know, an aspiring scientist has got to experiment.
Absolutely.
And but then in my, I don't know what, maybe I stopped everything maybe my mid-20s or something. And I can remember Daryl and I being in London. Andy Newmark, who's like an awesome drummer and an amazing pedigree, he took us to go see Brian Ferry.
Nice.
In the studio. So there we are in the studio with Brian Ferry, and Brian's like lighting up a joint.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, would you like some? It's like,
right.
and at that time period, I wasn't doing anything. And it was like, you know, we were like the cleanest cut Canadian kids, you know, at the time. And so, no, my my memories aren't chemically non-induced or whatever. So
I had to ask. I apologize. I had to
ask. No. I've fallen off the wagon, unfortunately, but now it's legal. So
that's true. That is true. That's right.
I have a question. So this, you might want to save this for the book too, but in regards to fans, have you ever had any encounters with any fans after a show that, you know, you can tell us? You don't have to go into, you know, there's certain stuff I probably think you won't tell us, which is totally fine because you want to save it for the book, but have you guys had those experiences knowing like, hey, you know, you've experienced your first song, hearing it on the radio. Now that you have fans, when they would come out to your concert and hang out after, hopefully meet with you guys and stuff.
Oh yeah, we had experiences, and it was just time. I was going to say bad timing. That doesn't really sound good. When we went out to tour, I was like engaged to be married. And so, you know, you would have you know, certain fans approach you and whatever. It's like timing's not really right for this. This is not going to happen.
Right.
So yeah, we were like a very straight, clean cut kind of a band, you know. So yeah, and yeah, not much more I can say about that.
All right.
Read the book.
Read the book.
So yeah, Grizz has a question there, Brad.
Yeah, any dream venues that you'd like to play at? He's you know, Grizz is a Toronto guy, so he's not overly familiar with some of the, you know, the venues out by you in the Vancouver area, but you know, any places you'd like to play? Like he made mention of Massey Hall in Toronto as an example.
Well, you know, there are all those legendary halls, but to be honest with you, I've never been in them. You know, so it's not. I mean, they've just redone Massey Hall, right?
Yes.
And Massey Hall, I've got one connection to Massey Hall, and that is that you know, Dean Cameron for a while was. I don't know if he was in charge of Massey or is there something, a Thompson Hall or something?
Yeah, Roll Thompson Hall.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm getting mixed up here, maybe, but he was. You know, he had a lot to do with the, you know, the renovation and stuff of the halls, but no, for me, I grew up going to a place called the Pacific Coliseum. That's where all the big games were played, you know, hockey, whatever, and that's where all the big concerts came. So when I was a kid, going to those concerts, you know, again, I used to dream about, you know, playing there. It's not a huge place. It's like maybe 10 or 12,000 people or something. And hardly anyone ever plays there anymore because we've got like, you know, Rogers Arena and BC Place and stuff. But to me, it was like a nice, an intimate large room, an intimate 12,000 seater. And so I just enjoyed seeing concerts there so much. I'd love it. I'd love it if we could play there ourselves one day.
Are you a Canuck fan?
I hate to disappoint you and everyone else listening. I'm sorry. I'm not a sports fan.
No.
Okay.
I did not get the sports bug. No. As a matter of fact, only because of COVID, I actually watched a few soccer games. And my dad, of course, was a huge soccer fan.
Sure.
And, being Scottish, the Rangers from Glasgow and stuff. And, but it just didn't take with me. But watching these games, and, they were like World Cup games and stuff, I really got into it. It was like, oh man, these guys are like ballet on the field here. They're so good. So, yeah, I will say, okay, I'll give soccer a pass. And I used to golf a little bit, but I don't do that anymore. So that's my entire sports career right there.
At least then you're not like, destined for disappointment as some of us are being a Toronto Maple Leafs fans. So,
well, this is the thing. As a non-sports guy, it always amazes me that people have, such strong feelings for their home teams. When it's like, okay, does anyone from Vancouver actually play on the Vancouver Canucks?
Well, yeah.
It's like all you're doing is buying the best players from all over the world that you can. It's like, how is this our team? It's just like, it's kind of a weird concept.
And down here, people always bust my chops saying the Rangers, the Devils, blah, blah, blah. And I say, yeah, but they're all from Canada anyway. So it's like, whatever.
All right. April loves music.
There you go.
My favorite concert. I went to a concert in England that was just an amazing day in my life. It was Yes, the group Yes.
Oh, nice.
And it was in an outdoor setting, and it was just beautiful. It was like there was like a little lake, and what am I trying to say here? Like a little I've lost the word. Like a round kind of concert bowl type of thing, like the Hollywood Bowl, I guess. And with this little lake in front of it, and then a grass field, and then hills, that went up behind there. So people were sitting on the hills all the way down to the lake, and there's the band. And this is the first time they've ever played close to the edge, and it was a remarkable concert. Also because so many great opening acts. Gary Wright. Who else was there? Mahavishnu Orchestra. All sorts of people. It was a fantastic day. And then Yes came on and just blew us all away. And then years later, there I am in the studio working with Yes on their new album.
Wow.
Well, this is like 15 years ago. It's not new now. But it was such a thrill to be in the studio with these legends, John Anderson especially, just crazy talent. And I made a mistake. I'm on my laptop, which is about to die.
Oh, well, look, we've had you for over an hour and a half at this point, so we don't want your laptop to die, that's for sure. But I know that we could talk to you and ask you millions of questions all night, but I think maybe we should let you go then if your laptop is about to die.
Well, I thank you very much. Next time I'll actually plug it in.
No worries. We appreciate you being here. I'm going to look out for you on the Facebook, and I'm would love to see you when you come back around. Hopefully that works out. And Diane, thanks for helping us put this together. Tom, thank you. But Drew, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it so much.
That was fun. That was a very, very nice experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you all.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, fans. And sorry I didn't get to all your comments, but
we'll have you back. You can sing another again.
We'll do it again.
That's all.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Drew.
Okay.
Thank you, Drew.
Take care. All right. So that was pretty cool. How was that, Diane? Did you enjoy it?
I loved it. Now you see what an incredible guy he is. Just so kind, so giving, so wonderful, so intelligent, so talented. I'm blessed to be a friend of his, and just I,
Are you
I'm also
talking
kind
about
of
Tom? Are you
fangirling.
talking about Tom or are you talking about Joe?
Why not both?
There you go. No, that was fun. He was super, super nice, and it was very nice of him to offer to give us his time. And the fact that you can be friends with him from meeting him on Facebook, like that's pretty cool, right? When you can be friends with, your hero somewhat. Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. Like I said, I mean, like he and I started chatting back and forth via Messenger back in September, and then we started speaking on the phone. It was weird that it was weird in a really good way that he actually gave me his personal phone number, and we've had multiple phone conversations, and we've really truly become friends, which is just beyond phenomenal.
Yeah,
That's cool.
we're gonna post his number in the chat so everybody can call him. So, hold on.
Put in the Daryl Hall and Oates hotline so everybody can call that one instead.
Not too
I
sure.
know. Yeah, sorry. I know Alan Frew. Can you say his name?
Frew.
Yeah, from Glass Tiger covered one. I know the singer from When in Rome covered another track. That's all. That's the only two I know of now.
Oh, speaking of Alan Frew, he's going to be on the show in 2 weeks, by the way, from Glass Tiger.
Seriously?
No, I'm just fucking with you.
Okay.
I was like, you're doing the round of CanCon right now.
I know. I've been trying, but then I gave it up. I gave up trying. That would be nice.
Romantic Traffic was done by an artist called Dagier and Arnott, apparently.
Oh, of course. Well, I got it up on the Spotify, so I'll have to give it a listen. Not now, obviously, but check it out.
Absolutely.
Are we done? Are we going to keep doing this? What are we doing now?
I'm going to probably jet. I'm going to crash early. I am still exhausted from the weekend.
Yeah, you had a pretty busy weekend. You had some nice photos. You were an organizer for an event for a change, right?
Yes, sir. No DJing, which I was happy to do.
Thank God.
And Pearl here, obviously, helped me too. She's a trooper.
Well, Jason, you're not local. He was mad. Hey, listen, I want to shout out and say hello to somebody in the chat, if I may, if that's okay with you guys. There's a gentleman here by the name of Vic922. Never physically met the guy, but he's an avid wrestling fan, as I am. And so we always chat amidst one of the other wrestling channels, Then Now Bus, it's called. Anyway, we always chat. And I was like, hey, man, come check out my show. He's like, you stream? I said, I do. So I appreciate him jumping in here and saying hello. That's all. Thank you, Vic.
Hi, Vic.
And once in a while, you didn't know? And once in a while, I DJ, yes. So that's that.
You DJ?
Huh?
You DJ? I had absolutely no idea.
Once in a while. That's why.
So nobody knows you DJs.
Even when I'm doing live gigs here in Jersey, that nobody even knows that.
Hello.
That's right. See, that's what I'm asking. I do.
I thought you were a talk show
DJ
host.
first. I'm a DJ first, and then I just happened to we started doing this.
I'm kidding.
I'm not good at either, so that's cool.
No, I think you actually did great tonight.
Oh, well, I had notes. Look. Just so, I usually, when we do a show and we interview guests in the past, I kind of already know, like I have a lot of standard questions, and sometimes it flows pretty freely. And so the questions just kind of come through. However, I took notes. I had the notes that you gave. Was it Diane? You gave us these notes, right?
Hi, Vic. Yes,
Yeah,
Diane. Diane gave us some notes, and then the one I sent you tonight was the article that I found.
Yep. So I actually did a little. I did some work for a change. But Drew is a good guy, so he deserved the effort. I mean, come on. So at least he was great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it actually flowed better with Diane, you, and me. I think we should just get rid of impressions.
Yeah, impressions just pulled a Harding. He was like all chatty with his with his crappy jokes in the chat, but he couldn't join us for the show.
And what happened to Mike? I thought we had Mike coming in for his raid and stuff, but it's all good.
Mike Brady, no. Mike Brady did raid us off the top.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was Mike Hardian was coming in.
What, a raid of 2 people? Come on.
Oh snap!
And he's his own show for he's his own viewer, so he's one of those 2 viewers.
Oh wow!
Yeah, F that guy. How about that?
No,
I love him. Look, real quick, let's bring in Jason because I'm with you, Tom. I want to get some sleep. I didn't sleep last night and had some flooding and blah 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 blah. Anyway, here it is. Here's
don't use so much toilet paper next time.
Ta-da!
Right, flooding.
I hate when that happens.
When I tuned you in at I guess 2 hours ago,
yeah,
you came up on screen. I knew this was an important interview for you tonight.
Who for how?
Well, you weren't wearing a hat and you combed your hair for one.
Unlike
Retro Mix there above me wearing a toque and hiding.
Hey, how Canadian can you get wearing a toque? And it's free advertising.
Hold on. Keep talking. Just keep talking about
Staples93 is going to be filling in for Chris Como on CNN. He's going to be he's gunning for his job.
That was a great interview tonight. I enjoyed that a lot.
It was all Drew.
It was it was dynamic and it was entertaining. That was great.
Yeah, I really sorry, Diane, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, isn't Drew just like one of the most incredible people you've ever gotten to know?
Like, I really enjoyed it. I didn't know anything about him before this evening. So yeah, no, there was great stories. It was fantastic.
So you're going to play more of his stuff on your shows?
Well, I mean, if I'm doing a retro show, I guess.
I think there might be some dance remixes out there. You never know, right?
Right? Maybe. I'm gonna have to go find out.
Yeah, he did mention. I think with Love Games there was a remix out there, a dance version of it. So I'm interested to see what it is.
Yeah.
And apparently, the dance mix version of Love Games was a club hit back in the UK.
By the way, Bractoon was here in the beginning. He said hi, but I didn't get a chance to shout him out, so I don't know if he's still around. But
yeah, I think Drew's on his show on Wednesday, and then after that, Honey Flow's got him on her show next week. So
Honey War.
I'd actually love to see Drew do a Talking Tacos on Twitch interview to see like what kind of madness ensues.
Yeah, I'm sure you would ask him like if there was anybody on Twitch, Drew, who that you could kill. Who would that be?
Hi, Rich. Love you, Rich.
Yeah,
we miss you.
Nice. What else? Human or animal or whatever the heck that question was.
What animal am I thinking of?
Yeah,
you'd probably guess it right too.
Sloth.
Diane, you kicked ass tonight, by the way. I just want to make that known.
Guys.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Thanks so much.
I almost feel weird calling you Diane and not both ends burning.
Right? Who's this Diane person?
Yeah, we're interviewing her now.
Let's do it.
Oh God.
I was trying to do the math before because you said in 1996 you were how old? 18, I think it was, or
17.
17, which would then make you currently older. I can't do the math.
Right, a lady never reveals her age.
Well, that's true too. That's why Tom has never told me his true age.
Because he's all ladylike and stuff. Pinky finger up.
Yeah, he's all. Jason's the same way. They're fancy people.
I like frilly bits and shit.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question to ask you guys. Tell me what your opinion is. Next week, Drew reminded me a lot of my old friend George Andrew, who DJs back in Toronto, and George is on Facebook on a show called the Hikadelic Show, where it's him and three of his buddies. Anyway, so next week it's at 9 p.m. on Mondays, and so next week George invited me to be on their show. So I was wondering, I brought it up with Eli, but he's angry, so I'd rather ask you guys and lady, if we started at 8:00 and then at 9 when I jump on his show, share the Facebook screen on here to play the show. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Or just not even bother?
It's totally up to you. Why not? It's holidays. We're coming up to the holidays. Do it.
Okay.
It's your show.
Well, no, it's a group thing.
It's actually Impression's show, but
it's really Tom and I's show now because Eli just crapped to bed and doesn't want to be here, and Impressions is I don't know what the hell he's doing, and Mike,
Eli's listening. By the way, he's.
I know. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. I love Eli. I love angry Eli.
Well, if you're listening, Eli, I'm still waiting for that list.
You'll be waiting a while.
As soon as DJ Marky D gets rough trade, you'll get your list.
Pearl has brought me something. What did you bring me?
Did she bring you the vacuum that she was using?
She brought me Spadooch.
Well, you're a Spadooch bag. Was Pearl vacuuming during Drew's interview?
No, that
I
wasn't
heard
me.
a vacuum in the background, and then I muted your mic, and the sound went away.
Mm-mm.
I heard. Did anybody in the chat hear vacuums in the background?
No,
I heard an odd sound that sounded a little bit like a vacuum.
Yes. See.
No, Pearl was not vacuuming. She had the thing above the oven, the fan on,
Oh,
we turned it
well,
off.
Yeah.
No. We turned it off, and you still were saying to me in the chat, I can still hear it. So it wasn't me. Because it was
okay.
off.
All right. I thought I heard something.
Someone wants to see my Lindt chocolate. I don't want to add fire. I'm not going to add fuel to the fire.
That 1 kilo bag of Lindt chocolate that you apparently purchased.
Yes, but I'm not eating it all at once. It's going to last me for weeks.
Please.
I've only had like maybe 30 so far today. No, I'm joking.
Only 30.
No, I've only had like 6
dozen.
6 dozen. Yeah.
I
No, the
mean,
bag's
honestly,
still full.
speaking of chocolate, though, I mean, I'm jealous that Canada gets those crunchy bars, the Cadbury crunchy bars.
Oh, those are good.
Oh my God, I had them when I visited the UK back in 2017, and I got addicted to them. And when I found out that Canada also gets those Cadbury crunchy bars, I was like, "Yep, another reason why I want to move to Canada." Check mark.
Where are you in the States?
I'm in a little city called San Antonio in Texas.
Oh, okay. There's I discovered one time in the New York area in Brooklyn, a little bodega, and the guy had all these Cadbury candy bars. So he had the crunchies and stuff. So I'm sure you could probably find it even at like those specialty candy stores. You never know. I saw crunchies.
Order it on the internet.
I'll send you some. I'll send you some. Okay.
Oh gosh, you don't
Seriously.
have to do
no,
that.
I'll go to Costco and I'll grab a box and I'll eat a bunch of them and leave a couple wrappers in there for you and I'll send it to you.
Do you know how much he makes on all those hype trains every day at noon? He can afford to send the crispy crunch in a box.
I don't get huge hype trains.
Come on.
I'm not Disco Vinny. Sorry.
Quarter.
Whoa. No, I'm happy with what we get and it's all good. It's not required.
What's a hype train?
Sure, well,
Jason.
Exactly. When I went to Ireland Cruise, Mars bars were there, and I got excited about Mars bars in Ireland. Anyway, can't get those down here.
So is it crispy crunch you like, or is it the one that you bite? Is it just
the gold wrapper with the sponge?
Yeah. Those are weird. I have had them before. I just find them weird. You eat it and it just disappears right away. It's like just melts instantly.
Tom likes to stare at his food as he eats it. So when the sponge toffee melts, he cries.
I don't stare at my food. I just eat it.
I find it gets stuck in my teeth, but
that's the problem. Yeah. It's so good.
You experience the same thing with Butterfinger bars, and Butterfinger bars are god tier candy bars as well. So, I mean, I call them candy bars because I'm American and we messed up the language apparently.
Do you say pop or soda, Diane?
Soda.
All right.
What kind of Coke do you like?
Chopped up on a mirror.
Wow.
What?
No, this answer would actually have angered Drew because he's gotten after me for saying this, but Diet Coke.
I got to take a call here. I'll be right back.
Don't bother.
Okay, fuck you then. Thank you.
No, I'm good to call it for the night. I think that's good. I need to get some sleep as well. So,
well, great show tonight.
I'm glad you could join us.
Jason wouldn't stay on after then. I'll talk to you right after.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. See you
so
soon.
everybody in the Twitch land, thank you for watching. Thanks for all the raiders from Mike Brady that came over and some of the new folks that just came just to see Drew. So we appreciate you all. Thank you. Again, we'll be back next Monday night, 8 o'clock. Hopefully Eli Katz will be here. Maybe Impressions will show up on time. And who knows where Mike Harding's going to be. And maybe we'll have Jason back. Who knows? So anyway, I'm not going to raid. It's too many buttons for me. It's a lot. Vic, thank you, my friend. We'll catch you. We'll duel again for points. And everybody else, thanks so much. I'd love to give a rundown of everybody that's in the chat, but it takes a lot. So that's it. I'll say thank you. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Good night.
That was fun. All right. Hold on.